Welcome to the Lumbridge Knights top 10 tips for new old school RuneScape characters. Whether you're a returning player or starting a new Ironman account, these are for you. These simple tips are all based in the free to play part of the game and are guaranteed to give you an edge as you level up your character. Well met, adventurers. I am the Lumbridge Knight, your guide to all things old school RuneScape. Remember to like and subscribe if you don't want to miss out on any of the hints, tips, tricks and guides that I'll be bringing you on this channel. Blessings of Saradomin be upon you as we venture forth. So let's get straight on with your first tip. Right at the beginning of the game, when you are on Tutorial Island, the Galenor guide will give you the option to choose between three options, asking you of your previous experience on the game. Either you've never played RuneScape before, you're an experienced player, or you've played but not recently. Do not click the experienced player option, as you will not get a starting items crate and you won't get access to the adventure paths. That's tip 1. Right at the start of the game, unlock the adventure paths. Tip number 2 now. As soon as you arrive at Lumbridge, seek out Adventurer John. You can see him just outside Lumbridge Castle. Request your starter crate. Inside the starter crate is a selection of items for all combat paths, so melee, magic and range. It's all stuff that you can wear immediately and instantly gives you a boost. Hence why you needed to activate the adventure paths, because if you don't do this, you won't get this. Also worth noting, if you're trying to start the game as an Ironman, you cannot get the adventure paths. Don't worry, because there's some stuff tagged on to this tip specifically for Ironmen. So following that, this is one of the longer tips. So head over to the melee tutor and claim your free beginner sword and shield. It's more important that Ironmen do this because the starter weapons are as good or better than the ones you come off Tutorial Island with. The shield definitely is better than the wooden shield you start with. The items you got in the starter crate are probably better. The iron sword you get in the starter set definitely is, and you don't get a shield, so still claim the starter shield because that's better than a wooden shield. Immediately after that, speak to the magic tutor and get her to turn on runes to rune pouch option. This is probably more useful if you remember, because I'm not sure if you can get the rune pouch as a free to play, but definitely worth turning on. Immediately after that, speak to the range tutor and ask her to turn on auto-equip arrows. That means when you have arrows equipped, any arrows you pick up of the same type, you will automatically add to your quiver and not your inventory. So if you have bronze arrows equipped and you pick up another bronze arrow, it'll automatically go back in your quiver rather than being in your inventory and having to manually do it. Second thing is, you can either claim 25 arrows or 30 air runes and 30 mine runes, but you can only claim one or the other. So you can either train your magic or your range at the start. To do this, you need to not have any mined or air runes in your bank or in your inventory. Obviously, I've just come off Tutorial Island as you saw, so I haven't got anything in the bank. So I need to drop the air and mine runes I've got, right click on the magic tutor and click claim, and they'll give me the air runes and mine runes as you've just seen. Now I'm going to show you what happens if you click on the range tutor. Here you go, I've clicked on her and asked to try and claim, and she's told me that I can only claim once every half an hour. So I'd have to wait half an hour, then come back, and then she'd give me arrows. And if you've got any arrows equipped, you need to drop them in order to get more. Okay, so now on to the sort of B side of this second tip. This is kind of aiming purely at Ironmen, so if you're not running an Ironman account, you can kind of skip this. The first thing to do is go and claim your armor from the Ironman tutor. That's the guy I'm speaking to now, and he will give you your Ironman armor. This is as good as iron plate mail, so this is much better than what you've got equipped at the moment, which is nothing. I'd then recommend you go straight out to the combat tutor and get the starter sword and shield, because they're as good or better than what you've already got, and they look a lot cooler. Next tip is to get some gloves. If you head on the area of the map indicated, you can see the spinning star indicating where I am. This is Father Ernie's retreat in the swamp. It is southwest of Lumbridge. You can get there by going out the back of Lumbridge Castle, so heading west and then heading south is probably the safest route. You can see where it is on the map. Head there, go inside and pick up a pair of leather gloves. Again, this is only useful for Ironmen because anyone who's got the starter set gets a pair of van braces, so you do not need to pick up the leather gloves. If you're not running an Ironman, skip this step. The next tip, head to the Wizard's Tower. I'll show you on the map there. It is just a stone's throw from Father Ernie's retreat in the swamp of Lumbridge. Head inside on the ground floor, head through the first 2 doors as I'm showing you here, and pick up the pair of leather boots from the desk. Now I'd recommend anyone goes and does this, not just Ironmen, even though if you get to level 5 in strength, you do get a pair of leather boots as part of the adventure path, but I recommend everyone goes and does this as early as possible, just to give you a little bit of a stats boost. Tip numero 4. Head to Varrock and head to the clothes shop just off Varrock Square. You can now see I'm kind of showing you on the map. It's not too difficult, due north from Lumbridge. Now again, this is another tip designed to grab you any sort of extra stats boost early on in the game. It'll provide you an edge against anyone you're fighting, either in a PK sense or in a training sense, especially when we've got the Stronghold of Security coming up, so you want every stat to count. So head to the clothes shop, and I'm recommending you buy this cape purely because it only costs the paltry sum of 2 coins, which even at this point in the game, you should be able to afford. Once you've got it, equip it for the extra stat bonus. So we've finally reached the point where we are about ready to go to the Stronghold of Security. Now there's a little tip here in Lumbridge that you may have missed. If you speak to the Count in the graveyard behind the church, just opposite Lumbridge Castle, he will check your security settings are in place, because to access the vault and get the rewards, you need to have your 2-factor authentication activated and have secured your account as per Jagex's recommendations. He will check your account for you, and then he will offer you a free teleport to the Barbarian Village, which is on the west side of Varrock, where the entrance to the Stronghold of Security is. So click through the narrative and he will teleport you there for free, just to save a little bit of time. Now, once we go enter there, I'm going to speed the video up, so you'll see me run through each of the 4 levels of the Stronghold of Security. I'm going to release a guide for this separately, so I'll pop that up on the screen now if it's already out. If not, just wait out and I will release it shortly. Now the reason I've put the Stronghold of Security in here and not more towards the end is because if you're starting this game afresh and you don't have any friends to give you any money and give you a bit of a head start in the game, or if you're playing an Ironman, it's quite difficult to generate money in the free-to-play game. You get 10,000 gold and the best pair of free-to-play boots on the game if you complete the Stronghold. So it's definitely worth doing as soon as possible. And you can get through this with a level 3 character straight off Tutorial Island. It's a little bit risky. I definitely recommend you get some food, probably better than shrimp. You can pick that up from near the Barbarian Village. A lot of people there are just training the fish and cook the fish and just throw them away. So if you're lucky, you can pick some up there. Worst case, just bring what food you've got and work your way through the dungeon, follow the guides, and that'll net you 10,000 coins and the best pair of boots. Now, again, you may think, well, why did I bother getting the leather boots from Wizard's Tower? That is just to give you every possible defensive bonus here, because as you can see at this point, this is the final level of the Stronghold, and those enemies can hit a little bit hard, so you don't want to risk your Iron Man getting killed. Regular guys, obviously, it's not as big a deal if you die, but you'd rather not die if possible. So once you get to the end, click on the little altar, or sort of it looks like a cot, and select the style of boot you want. You can either have the colourful one or the sort of fighty one with the steel toe cap things, and they are the best melee boots you can get on the free-to-play game, so well worth having. The 10,000 coins also set you up to be able to easily afford some of the things I'm going to recommend in the following tips, which is why I want to put the Stronghold of Security in here. As I say, if you want to be a bit more risk averse, you can wait and level up and come back to this tip at the end if needs be, if you've already got money. So here we are at tip number 6. You can see I'm just doing a little pan round, and this is Draenor Village. I'm stood in the marketplace. I'm going to click on the map in a second and show you that. Here you go. You can see it's just due west of Lumbridge, short walk away, and north of the Wizard's Tower. So if you zoom in, there's a guy called Diango, and he is the holiday item trader. So find him wandering around the marketplace, trade him, and buy the Chronicle for 300 coins. As you can see, I already bought that. Now you can buy a teleport card for 150 coins, and if you want a slightly posher cape than the one you bought in Varrock, you can buy the cabbage cape for another 150 coins. I'll give you a little demo. As you can see, it's comedic in that it's got a cabbage on the back, but it looks a bit cooler than the standard 2GP cape from Varrock. Now, if you click use on the teleport card and use that on your Chronicle, it adds a teleport charge to your book, which if you then right click and click teleport, as I've just done, it teleports you out to just south of Varrock, just outside the Champions Guild. This is really useful because early on in the game, especially in the free-to-play side, training up your magic can be a bit of a pain in the neck, and this gives you a 150 coin Varrock teleport. So, well worth the investment. So, on to tip number 7. Now this is a really easy one. Just head to Alcarid. You may need to pay the 10 coin toll to get through the gate that's east of Lumbridge, as you can see on the map there. Walk north and round the fence if you don't want to pay the 10 coin toll. Now, head to the Scimitar shop. You can see it clearly marked on the map, and it is owned by a guy called Zeke, and Zeke sells scimitars up to the mithril level, so buy the best scimitar you possibly can. This is especially good for Ironmen. The reason I say buy a scimitar is because scimitars are the fastest weapon to attack with in the free-to-play game. Tip number 8 links back to the first tip when we started the adventure and gatherer path. Now you need to complete them. As you can see, there is a plethora of rewards which are all worth having in the early part of the free-to-play game. Getting to level 20 is not too odorous to grind out with a combination of training and questing. So get those done. Also, lastly on this, if you wish to view the paths in more detail, use your quest log, or I will put a link to the wiki page in the video description. Here we are at the penultimate tip. This one is a very easy one to explain and probably a much more harder one to do in practice. All I will say is quest, quest, quest. In the free-to-play game, there are around 20 quests to complete, and they are well worth doing to get you used to the initial part of the game. Now, if you combine this tip with the next tip, which is to upgrade your account to membership, you will have access to literally hundreds of quests and a much more diverse range of quests, offering a much more diverse range of awards. I've played RuneScape for many years, and I get a great deal of enjoyment from completing the quests. The quests not only offer you cool items as rewards, but they also open up new parts of the games to explore. I thoroughly recommend that you invest in these. So, quest, quest, quest. As far as the free-to-play game goes, you need 32 quest points, which is basically most of the quests completed, probably 18 quests minimum, to get the 32 quest points to enter the Champions Guild, the place that we can teleport to with the Chronicle, to start the Dragon Slayer quest. This is the pinnacle of the free-to-play game. If you can complete this quest, you've pretty much completed free-to-play. And from completing this quest, you can then wear Rune Plate Mail Chest, which you can't wear unless you've completed this quest. So, quest, quest, quest. So here we are at our final tip, and this tip is a very simple one once again. Once you've completed the Dragon Slayer quest, upgrade to a member's account. What you get in the free-to-play world is about 10% of the actual game. Honestly, free-to-play is just a taster of the main game. For $3.99, that's roughly the cost of a pint these days. You will not regret it. Do yourself a favour, get yourself a membership. Now also, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you have access to Prime Gaming, which RuneScape seem to be a member of, and offer various incentives throughout the year. Some of them, as you can see on the screen now, are free members access. So look out for these trials and get upgraded. If you have enjoyed this video and it has been at all helpful, please like, subscribe, share and leave a comment. I, the Lumbridge Knight, am at your service. So, until the next time, fare thee well, brave adventurers.